Welcome back to Hardball. Time for the Politics Fix tonight. Joining me is Vito Latino's Maria Teresa Peterson and the Politico's Roger Simon. I want you both to take a look at something we showed earlier in the show. It's an audio of Governor Perry, Rick Perry, yesterday. This is what he said. This is the governor of Texas talking to the Houston Chronicle.
Texas is a unique place. When we came in the Union in 1845, one of the issues was that we would be able to leave if we decided to do that.
My hope is that America, and Washington in particular, pays attention. We got a great union. There's absolutely no reason to dissolve it. But if Washington continues to thumb their nose at the American people, you know, who knows what may come out of that.
Well, just to straighten the facts out there, Texas does not have a right, nor does any other state to secede from the Union. That was established in 1861. What it does have is the right, unique to its size and its history when it came in by treaty, to reform into a number of states. But they all have to be members of the Union. Go ahead, Roger. What is this guy talking about?
I think Perry has decided he might have a better chance being elected president of Texas than re-elected governor of Texas. I mean, maybe if we could keep Austin and a few other places and give them the rest.
We lost 600,000 people in the Civil War. Why is he talking Civil War again?
It's a small step from demagoguery to buffoonery. And Perry might have crossed over. I mean, if he's talking about secession, he's talking about levying war against the U.S. government. That's the crime of treason. Does he really want to go there?
Well, I think we should take it a step further and saying what's wrong with the leadership of the Republican Party. First, Palin from Alaska referring to us as the lower 48, also talking about secession. And now the next governor in line is, Texas is Perry, also talking about secession. And I think what they're doing is that they have a lack of alternatives for this current presidency. So they're saying, you know what, I'm going to pick up my marbles and go home.
Okay, give me a motive. Is he talking to nut country here or what? What's he up to?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is he trying to position himself because he's being threatened by perhaps the elitist, moderate candidate down there, K. Billy Hutchinson, who will appeal to people who read newspapers and listen to National Public Radio. I'm sure there's some Republicans like that. The Austin, Harris County people. And he's going to the other people, the right wing.
For other people, it's a small step from saying the government is bad, government is evil, government is taxes you unfairly, government overspends. Small step from going that to let's leave the government. Let's form our own government. Right. We'll form a better government.
What do you think, Tom, about Don DeLay, who nuanced this just a tad, talking about sovereignty? Do states have sovereignty? I know they've got the 10th Amendment, powers that aren't reside in the states, but the idea of ability to, is it nullification we're talking about here?
Look, I mean, what he's talking about, and he may be doing it in jest, but he's talking really about the most difficult time in our history when Americans turned against Americans. And what he thinks is that he's dealing with the Texas of 10 years ago. But just most recently, the Democrats are increasingly having a stronghold in Texas. So if he really wants to talk about the fringe groups, I wouldn't be going after this one.
You know, and I think there's a lack of historical knowledge. Yes. We've had this guy, Dennis, what's his name, a while ago on this show, Kevin James. He's talking about, appeasement, didn't know what it was about.
Right.
Marilyn Bachman's talking about, investigating for loyalty a portion of the Congress back in the McCarthy days. They don't know our history. They don't know what we've been through. They don't even recognize, you don't say words like sovereignty. You don't say we're getting out of the Union.
But how do you talk
We've been there all these places.
How do you talk to veterans of World War II, let's say, who fought and died for this country, and then say, but by the way, we're going to secede because the country's no good, the government's no good, even though you fought for it. I mean, throwing away all this American history for the politics of the moment.
They're pursuing divisive policies that actually brought America together, saying, we're tired of this rhetoric. We want to vote for someone that can actually bring us together. And that's the danger.
I think we're deep in nut country here, and I don't understand. Rick Perry, if you're watching, I don't get you. We'll be right back with Maria Teresa Peterson and Roger Simon with more of the politics. We're going to go back to sanity when we come back here. We're talking the somewhat crazy world there about secession from the Union, and I hope it's still crazy. I hope in the next couple of days the governor down there says, well, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean sovereignty. I didn't mean leaving the Union. But he's been talking that crazy way all week, and I think it's nut talk. Let me ask you about bringing us back relatively to the sane country, Sarah Palin. This governor of Texas, governor of Alaska in this case, is for real. She's campaigning tonight in Indiana with an anti-abortion crowd, pro-life crowd, raising money, making a pitch for the cultural right. She wants to be their leader, clearly.
She does, but I think, as we all know, in order to create your platform and run for president, you need to have a strong base at home. And she's losing that base right now in Alaska. So she has to go back, look critically, and say, how can I start forging those relationships before I ran?
Does she need them anymore?
She actually does need them.
Why?
Well, I think she needs to move base. She also needs to be reelected governor. She has to make sure that she actually shows something for
I got to say,
Can't she just split and run nationally right now?
I have to disagree. I think the worst thing that could happen to her would be to run for governor of Alaska in 2010 and win. It's going to take too much of her time. It's too far away from where she has to be campaigning. She doesn't need
That's
the
her
job.
with Rick Perry there, isn't it?
Her base is the social conservatives of the Republican Party, which is the core of the Republican Party, and the party is being reduced to its core.
Yeah, but
she's never going to win the
She doesn't have to prove her administrative ability. She has to prove her ability to talk well.
Right, but the problem is that one step after another. I mean, the other day she was fighting with a 19-year-old in the sandbox. She has to pull away from that and actually start acting with Levy Johnston.
The potential, but not real son-in-law.
Right. So instead of getting, basically going back and forth with him, all she had to say is, I respect my grandson's father.
She has to study up, and she has to do what Reagan did in 1976 after losing the nomination. But she's never going to win the competency test in the Republican Party against a Romney or a Pawlenty or a Jindal. She needs the social conservative base. She needs to tell them what they want to hear, and she just has to get enough of buzzwords to run a presidential campaign, which we've seen one Republican presidential candidate do successfully for 2 terms. I mean, I really think she's got to be doing more of these speeches rather than fewer.
Well, here's the problem she may be facing at home. And in today's New York Times, one of her colleagues at home is quoted as saying, quote, "The source of the greatest tension this year between the legislature in Alaska and the executive has been certainly the appearance that the executive, that's the governor, is prioritizing her national image, her national brand over the day-to-day operations of state government and the interests of the state of Alaska." There you are. There's the shot. She's not tending things at home. Too big for her britches, that thing.
Well, that's trouble if you're going to run for governor of Alaska again. Yeah. If you're going to run for president of the United States,
you and
who cares?
There's 2 against 1 here. I think she is the genuine article in politics. That rare bird, that rare person, male or female, who can walk into a room and there's a wow. It's the way she walks, the way she talks, the what she looks like. It's a composite thing. And more than that, there's some kind of spirit there of incredible self-confidence. I wish I had this ability to believe that she's big enough to rule the world.
You want more self-confidence?
Compared to her.
No, but I think,
I'm a humble guy.
But I think
look at her. She doesn't have any problem.
But I think, well, if anything, I think she's kind of a train wreck right now, in all due respect. And I think part of it is that she keeps losing one battle after other. Sarah Palin,
that's what I mean.
the governor.
She's not a train wreck.
And she's very much a polarizing figure from both sides.
I'm going to go through all the guys that ran, guys, because they're all guys who ran last time. We're not talking about them anymore. Nobody's saying, gee whiz, I wish they were running again. She's the only one that keeps popping back up there, And
that's why she has a chance. The party is being reduced to its social conservative core, and that is who she speaks to.
The pattern of the Republican Party is when they get beaten, they go to their core.
Yep.
64, 80, and sometimes it works, and sometimes they win. Maria Teresa Peterson, Roger Simon.